Hello everybody and welcome back. So work this week, again, a bit lesser of a week than I would prefer. Let me show you a really amazing thing that a new good friend of mine dropped off from Kansas City by the name of Tyson. He came with, I think, the perfect item to, well, architectural item that I need in the house. So let me show you. So this here is a fantastic newel post. Now it's not quite fitting at the bottom. It's a bit too tall, so there's gonna have to be some cutting, and I'm gonna take that entire box apart and shift it because it doesn't quite sit perfectly. However, there are two things that make this newel post an acceptable newel post for the house. A is this round guy here. Again, it's not a rosette. There's a proper name for this, and I don't remember it. However, that motif is presented very well, again, here on the trim of the house. Again, up top and kinda everywhere, right? The other thing this has going for it is these panels, which is got a 3-panel, which matches very well the pocket doors and the stairs themselves. So pretty perfect. And lastly, the major thing here, it's oak. And the entire stairwell area, including this side of the pocket doors, the front door, the entire stairwell itself until you get to the second floor is all oak. Up there on the second floor just turns to faux graining. But it's pretty much perfect. Now again, I don't have the photos of what the original looked like. However, I can see that. I can see that newel post sitting here quite nicely. I think it will fit beautifully. And so I've been kind of working at stripping at it. You can see I haven't really done as much work on this side, but I'm trying to get all the paint off of it. It's got 3 coats of lead paint, which is super duper fun to get off. It just kind of turns to milk when you hit it with the stripper, and it's quite stubborn stuff. But I've got 2 sides of it pretty close to clean. The other 2 sides I'm starting to work on. But yeah, I think that works. If it can't be my newel post, that one's pretty close. Yeah, I've looked at tons and tons and tons of newel posts, but I have not found anything that's as close or matches the house as nicely as this one. So yeah, Tyson, thanks for the surprise, buddy. Man, this is pretty much perfect. Yeah, brilliant. Tyson also is a antique Christmas light aficionado, and so he brought me some really wonderful Christmas lights as well, which I was really surprised by. The newel post was more than enough, you know, my friend, but these are really cool. They're the cords here are from the 1930s, he said, and I think the bulbs, correct me if I'm wrong, man, I think they say it was from about the 20s. They're kind of, you know, vary slightly, but we have really cool things like there's a cat here, a fish, a Santa, some fruit. I think that one's like a pear. There was a really cool one here that Kim really loves, which is the frog, because Kim's really into frogs. So yeah, roses, there's a Santa here. I mean, these are really cool. So, you know, I'm wary about turning them on at all ever, because eventually the bulbs do burn out and they're antiques. And when they burn out, that's it for them. It's crazy to think that somebody would spend so much time making something so beautiful just to know eventually it will burn out. But again, Tyson, thank you so very much, man. These are so cool. And you might have noticed in the time lapse that I have been messing with this medallion up here. And that's because I have been, been working on stripping it off. It's amazing how much detail you couldn't see until all that stuff come off, all that old stuff. But you can see there's actually, like, this is all stippled up here. And you can see the flowers really nicely, the leaves on the flowers, even the petals here around the sides. You can see there's veining in them. It's really cool. You can see very well right here where the veins are and everything. But we're slowly getting it off there. There's some really kind of chalky stuff hanging out here. No, it's not the plaster itself, because I can feel the harder plaster underneath it. But what I've kind of figured out is if you use a toothbrush and some water, this extra bit of chalk stuff comes off pretty easily, and you get a rather smooth surface like I've done over here, which is quite a bit better. Of course, any imperfections that are in this, I do believe that I can use plaster of Paris, which is just gypsum-based plaster, which is essentially what these harder plasters are made of, to repair it. So that's kind of what I plan on doing, and hopefully that all works out. So, in other news, we went to an estate sale this week. Normally, I don't look into those too much because, you know, when they come up, I tend to go and spend too much money at them. However, this one was in Compton Heights, which is where the Magic Chef Mansion is, and they don't come around very often, and they usually have really amazing items, things that I would need for this house. So we went over there, checked it out, and picked up some really cool things, and let me show you those. Also, if you watched Kim's channel at all, you'll be well acquainted with these items already. There's a few different things here. I'm gonna first start off with this mirror. You can see me there. That's the whole camera rig I use. I believe on the back it said 1935, so probably not quite right for this house, but I think it's rather pretty. I think it would actually really go well with those couches I have over here. These guys, the little Frenchy ones that I showed you guys a while back. Again, I'm not sure if that's quite Rococo or whatever. One thing you guys are gonna have to forgive me with time to time as I, you know, get more items and stuff like that is simply put, I don't know every style of Victorian everything. You know, there's so many different styles. There's Romanesque, there's Italianate, there's Eastlake, there's aesthetic movement, there's Rococo, there's Oriental, there's so many different styles, and obviously some are easier to pick out than others. The two I focus on mostly is aesthetic movement and Eastlake because the house is those styles. So, you know, and then of course my personal love of Art Nouveau. So there'll be things like that here and there around in the house as well. So let's get on with the things. So dressing mirror, pretty cool. Again, the gold is really amazing on these. Yeah, they'll be great. And then of course you can see there's a bit of age to it because there's some crackling in the mirror. You can see there, the little spiderwebby guys. But I think that only adds character and makes it more beautiful in my opinion. I kind of wish it was an unpainted piece, but I think they always painted these. Again, not quite sure, but again, nice piece. My father went back actually today and decided that I needed this bird cage. And I mean, I don't disagree. It kind of looks really awesome in here. No, we will not have a bird in that. Birds are loud, and you know, I don't dislike birds. I've just never been a bird person, let's say. No Rick and Morty jokes, please. The base on it, really nice, quite ornate, and you know, as a whole piece, it's nice. Down to this chair, which I believe to be rather Eastlake in style. Of course, I could be wrong. I've not quite seen one like this, but the burl wood on it's really nice. I assume that's probably a veneer, but then the rounded elements on the side. Some column action there. Little scrolls at the bottom. But overall, very nice chair. You even get a little bit of spoon carving here at the bottom, which is a pretty typical Eastlake thing. But yeah, it's a nice one. It's, I think, perfect aesthetically for the house. Now on to probably my favorite thing. As you can see, there are two newel posts here. This is the lucky one, the one I've had for a little bit. She's amazing. You all know and love her. But this is the new one, which is called Inspiration. I have not been able to find a maker mark on this one yet, or the artist mark. Of course, I haven't looked too hard yet. But it's a little angel. You got the wings here. Playing a violin or a fiddle, depending on how I suppose you approach playing the said instrument. But, you know, quite a bit cheaper than that one, and obviously quite a bit smaller, but quite beautiful as well. I do believe they're both spelter, which is a type of alloy metal. It's cheaper than bronze, of course. A lot of these were all made around the same time and out of the same material. This one has probably been retouched up, I think, at some point to make it look like bronze. And I really like the look of that kind of, well, it is technically like a faux metal look, because the actual color is actually closer to her cheek, where it's kind of almost aluminum in color. And I'm wondering if I take a treatment like this and do it to this one or re-gild it in gold. Because again, I don't want anything to look, the idea isn't to have items that look antique, it's to have antiques that look like they would have at the original house. So, you know, I'm going back and forth. But I think if I can get a few more of these Art Nouveau style newel post lamps and have them in some of the various rooms, I think it would be absolutely amazing. I'm a huge fan of these lamps, and I think I'll start collecting them when I see them and when I can find them. Then over here in this corner, we have, the best way I can describe this chair is a antique lazy boy. In Kim's video, that's the exact same thing I said, because I'm not really sure. It's kind of funky, and I've never seen anything like it. It's got this little knob here on the side you can see, which actually screws and I believe tightens it, so it leans back, and I think you can tighten it to stay in that position. It's rather comfortable. I don't necessarily hate the damask fabric on it, but maybe it's not right. It's got some grapes on top. I don't know. It's a very loungy chair. It's also a really big chair and kind of looks like an old school wheelchair, or at least that's how I feel about it. I don't know. It's interesting, and it was fairly cheap. So I said, why not take a risk on it? If anything, it's pretty cool. Maybe in the library or something like that, if it doesn't necessarily work aesthetically for the rest of the house. But yeah, it was one I was willing to take a risk on. It was cool. This one here definitely matches the house aesthetically. It's an Eastlake platform rocking chair, and has a really nice rocking action to it. It's actually really wonderful. I think it might be the chair I use the most while I'm here because it's really nice. It's also quite sturdy and well put together. I just looked at, there was some repair here at some point in time, and the glue is starting to give again. So I might have to break that all back open, get some modern glue in there, glue it back up, and should be good. Last another 100, last another 100 some odd years for us. And yeah, beautiful wood on this one. Really, really nice piece. My father was also able to grab this frame today, which you didn't see in Kim's video, if you guys saw that. Again, for like almost nothing, I think like 10, 20 bucks. Not too keen on the print inside of it. Never been a huge fan of the, well, like let's say the 1700s of like France and Britain. I think there's just too many Louis and Henrys and Georges, and I just get really confused. So not necessarily a piece of art that I'll have in here. It'll probably be something I have painted myself, or probably stretch my own canvas and utilize this frame, because I think it is rather beautiful and something that will go very nicely, I think, here in the house. And last but not least, we have this beautiful, what I believe to be aesthetic movement chair. We have these little flowers stuff in here, and I actually really like the fabric on this one. I think it's pretty close to right, although it is a bit beat up, so still probably has to be reupholstered, but gives me a good idea of what the chair should look like. There we go. And the one thing that really draws me to it is these little circles. Again, somebody told me the name of those things. I keep forgetting. They're not rosettes. There's an ancient Roman name for them, but they're all over art and architecture of like the 17th and 18th, or 17 and 1800s, just kind of all over the place. But these I love so very much because they match these, and this is the, of course, the trim here in the house. These are on the giant pocket doors here in the parlor, as you can see when we go up. There's also those same little circles and motifs up there. So hopefully the cameras figure that out and you guys can see all that. And again here, so you guys have seen those quite a bit. But for me, I think this chair works aesthetically perfectly because of, I don't know, just its design, the way it looks. I believe it's ebonized, it's quite dark. But yeah, so very beautiful one. It was really this and the newel post are why I went to the sale at all. But we ended up with, I think, some rather amazing items for our troubles as well. I also do have a clock that I forgot at home, but I'll insert that video here at my house so you guys can see that one as well. Here back at the house, guys, I wanted to show you that little lamp I was talking about which is very odd context next to this really crazy 70s TV. But this is the clock I was talking about, and I think it is rather amazing and will go very, very nicely on one of the mantles in the house, maybe the master bedroom, or even maybe one of the parlor mantles. But I believe it's French in construction. I haven't looked into it too deeply, but you know, again, I am a sucker for sculpture, and as far as sculpture is concerned, she is rather beautiful. I like her pose. I love the ruffles in the dress, and so yeah, couldn't pass that up. As far as the clock is concerned, I'm not sure if it works or not. I do have a winding key, but I have not tried to wind it. Like I said, I accidentally forgot this in my my car and didn't bring it into the house, so that's why I ended up at my current place. So, but that's the other little beautiful clock. Pretty excited about it. That's the end of the video. I want to thank you guys as always for sticking around and seeing this project come to life. I'll see you guys next week. Have a wonderful rest of your week. Enjoy your winter time, or if you're in the southern hemisphere, your summertime, and have a great one. See you next time. Bye-bye.